somebody a long time ago decided, wait, injury victims cannot afford to just chase an injury recovery by paying money up front. And so through, case law and contract law, this whole field of contingent representation started. So for instance, in our contract, it's authority to represent and contingency fee agreement. So I'm licensed in 8 different states, 7 states in Washington, D.C. And each one tends to have its own form contract. The bar of each state or the Supreme Court of each state have specifically approved language to be used in injury cases. In Florida, they also require us to have a client sign a statement of client's rights. Sorry, it was in my back pocket for me to take home yesterday to study for today's video. Under the statement of client's rights, it's like a lawyer should be truthful to you. A lawyer should explain, what you owe them, and a whole host of things, 11 different things, including, which usually when I have a client sign one of these contracts with me, I circle the Florida bar's phone number and say, that's Mama. So if anybody's violating any of these rules, call Mama. They'd be interested to know that. So in the authority to represent and contingency contract, most of them read as follows. You don't owe us anything. Like, there's a lot of lawyer ads that brag about us being free, or free until we recover, or no pay until we win, right? I hate the concept of winning in this case. Certainly we win cases. Certainly we're proud of our win-loss record, but it's not a lottery ticket. A lot of lawyers want to post photos with big checks or make this seem like somebody won $1 million recovery. No, if somebody got $1 million recovery, they were significantly injured, and money doesn't fix that. So I resent some of the slick tactics used by some personal injury lawyers. But basically, on a contingent agreement, we don't recover as injury lawyers until we've done the work. So on a $100,000 insurance policy, somebody's had back surgery, the insurance company agrees to pay the $100,000. It's acceptable. You had $15,000, $20,000 in bills. We can reduce that down. And the question is, how does the attorney get paid? Well, not just hourly. That ship has sailed, right? There are ways you can hire lawyers on an hourly basis to look at cases. They tend not to do that in injury cases, but in these cases, what typically happens is a lawyer will agree on a rate between 30 and 40%, depends on what stage it settles. Sometimes in government cases, it's required to be 25%, cases where you sue the government. But from 25 to 40%, that's the contingency fee. So on the $100,000 example, typically lawyers are going to charge a third. If it had to go to court, it could be 40%. And you should ask your lawyer if about those fees. And some lawyers will negotiate with you, and not just in the beginning, but also at the end. As before settlement's approved, like people ask us all the time, hey, can you cut your fee a little bit? We'll see how many hours we have into it and whether we can. It's totally a fair question. So, all of the commercials aside, most lawyers charge basically the same. Every state, a lot of cities have discount lawyers that'll reduce the fee and advertise. And sometimes you sacrifice quality for the reduction in fee. And you'd have to really sit down with insurance adjusters to understand that that their metrics, whether a lawyer's board certified by the Florida Bar, whether a lawyer's taken cases to trial and won before juries, which is really hard to do, by the way, and done so consistently, whether that lawyer is chosen over a lawyer who's never been to court, who will accept their first offer, insurance companies know that. And so they count that in when they're making offers. So it's why we say don't hire those injury firms that never go to court, that love to advertise, because not all of them, in fact, very few of them actually go to court and prove themselves. In fact, one of them for years outsourced trial work, right? Like literally they would get a case ready for trial and then they bring in their hired gun, split the fee, and they'd let that lawyer try the case. There are also lawyers whose entire business model is based upon referrals. So they'll go run around, meet chiropractors, meet your doctors, go play golf and fly private jets and do all of that and get your case, maybe even be charismatic and convincing to get your case, but get your case and then they'll send it over to another firm and they get their 25% fee or whatever it is, and the law firm gets a new case. You don't get to choose your lawyer in that situation, do you? And that's what we want people to do. We want people to choose their lawyer. The contingency fees, what you owe at the end, that's a separate equation.